on film.
Oh my god. All right. Big movie. Well, we're doing a new movie, so no one has seen it. We're doing The Order 2024, directed by Justin Kurzel, written by Zach Balin. I think it's based on the book by Gary Gerhardt and Kevin Flynn. So let's not get too deep into spoilers because most people haven't seen this movie. It's a very new movie. Let's just kind of give like um a basic spiel about like, hey, should people watch it? Did you like this movie, Mike?
Yes, I did like this movie. It was friggin' awesome.
And you saw it at the movie theater. You got in your car and you drove and you saw it.
That was a horrible, horrible experience. Buying the tickets, you basically have to have some sort of computer science degree not to get ripped off and then to not pay double the fees. I had to pay a fee when I bought the ticket, then they wanted to charge me a fee when I cashed the ticket. The theater was shit.
Where was it?
It was in Saratoga, just west, which is like a nice little suburb of
It's an
San Jose.
old theater.
It was like one that was in like a mall, and then the mall is now something else, and the theater was just small, dirty. It was
Yeah.
empty, which was nice, but it was not super full.
And had a big comfy chair.
It did not have a reclining chair. It was like this was like a standard theater. It wasn't an IMAX. It wasn't
Nothing new.
No, it was just a regular theater. I did get a great seat, center middle, but
that's good.
Yeah, that was nice.
It's when it comes to like IMAX, Dolby, all the options, the most important thing is that you get a great seat. You get a nice seat right in the center, and you bought your ticket there, right? Or no, you bought online.
I actually have this thing called Perks at Work where I can like buy discounted tickets through my work. So I bought a ticket through there, but that had a convenience fee. And then I have to take that ticket and then use that voucher to buy a ticket online, and they wanted to charge me another convenience fee.
Oh, come on.
And when I went and checked the second convenience fee, it was cheaper to just buy the ticket directly from the theater and pay one service fee. So now I have an extra ticket for some other movie. But to answer your question, I bought it online, picked the ticket ahead of time online, and it was a mess.
Were you there on time, and did you get any previews?
There were approximately 15 to 20 minutes worth of previews. I did get there 5 minutes early.
Plus, AMC, you get to go like, you get to laser, and there's like a whole little laser video.
Yes.
And then you get a video where this guy is like a young black guy. He's eating popcorn, and then he's in the movie, and he has a dance scene, and then he's like in a driving scene, and then he's in like a love story, and it's like his girlfriend, and the camera pulls out. Now he's sitting with his girlfriend, and they're watching the movie. And what I hate about these fucking previews is that they have these beautiful glass Coke bottle, like, and they have with ice, and they're just drinking a Coke. I bought a Coke Zero like last week at the movie theater from AMC with one of their like remix freestyle machines where you get like a million flavors.
Yeah.
It was the most watered down, disgusting soda I've ever had. And it costs like $8. It's
Jesus Christ.
You know what I mean? You could buy like a multiple 2 liters. Yeah. So just give me a fucking good Coke. This is why I like little movie theater. You go to New Beverly. Oh, you get a great soda.
McDonald's Coke. It's like Coke at McDonald's. It's perfect.
Basically. Yeah, it tastes great. It's just like, come on, AMC. How much money are you making? Service fees for a website?
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
But anyway,
I had a $7 hot dog. It was pretty tasty. And then I asked for a cup of water, and they gave me
a
thimble for water, and that was awesome.
The
hot dog was okay.
But what about the movie?
Oh, the movie was great. If we want, I don't know how we're going to talk about this movie and not talk about it.
Well, we're going to talk about it, but like the first couple minutes, we got to recommend the movie. Like, should people like, you are not a guy who likes leaving the house and going to the movie theater. That's the habit that's been lost on you because the movies are so bad.
Yes.
And this movie, I have very mixed feelings about it because I really like the director.
Mhm.
He made one of our favorite movies, Snowtown. Great movie. Great Australian low budget movie about a serial killer. It was very similar to the guy in this movie. It's about a serial killer who's good at getting people to work for him. He's good at like brainwashing people. He's good at being a leader. He kind of worms his way into this family and then starts telling people like, we got to like this family's like really messed up and they've been sexually abused, the children. And then he starts saying like, we got to like kill the child molesters, right? Because they're bad. So they just start killing child molesters. Then they just start killing everybody. They feel like anybody they don't like, they just start killing.
I like that movie, but that movie is extremely hard to follow. I had to watch it several times before
Oh
I could
yeah,
really understand what was going on. I love it. I think John Bunting is fucking awesome, but it took me a while to actually like kind of like follow that movie.
because what they're doing is so incoherent.
Yeah.
And the lead character in that movie is just on heroin by the end, like that young guy. So this movie, The Order, I think it has like a a villain, an antagonist who's very similar. It's a real person named Bob Matthews. It's played by Nicholas Holt. He's the best part of the movie, and he's the most accurate part of the movie because the other side of the movie, the lead character in the movie, the star of the film, is Jude Law. He produced the movie.
Mm.
He plays an FBI agent. Everything about the FBI in this movie and the police is completely made up. There is
Ah,
it's it just and Jude Law's good.
yeah, he
He's
is.
he's very good. But there are these little cliches and there's a bunch of them. There's like one running cliche where Jude Law is a hunter that is just right out of the Deer Hunter and I don't even know how like come on, do something else. Don't have him look down the barrel of his sniper rifle or the sight of the sniper rifle and then be like, I can't pull the trigger.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
I've seen Deer Hunter.
yeah. I'm stunned by the beauty of this 12-point buck.
I've been through
Oh,
too much, man.
he's like me. He's an old deer. He's lived a long time, long in the horn.
He's alone. He has no
Yeah,
wife, no kids.
yeah.
Now, every other depiction of the story, The Order, about Bob Matthews doesn't focus on the police or the FBI. They focus on Bob Matthews or people he like recruits. There's a movie from the 90s on Showtime where Peter Gallagher plays Bob Matthews.
Hmm.
And it's much more about the gang. Now, what they don't do right in that movie is they don't have any of the cool action scenes. This movie has like The Order has amazing robbery scenes.
Oh
Like,
yeah, best since Heat for sure. That's all I thought of. Is these are the best shootouts since Heat by far.
and this movie is not, it has a good budget. It looks really good. It's shot by the guy who shot the first season of True Detective, Adam Arkapaw. Him and Justin Kurzel work together on Snowtown. So they're like old buddies. And Adam Arkapaw kind of his career has gone better than Justin Kurzel. Justin Kurzel directed Snowtown, which was awesome. Then he made this movie called Macbeth, with Michael Fassbender.
That was kind of cool.
It's kind of cool, but
It was
just
hokey. It was gimmicky.
no one talk. I mean, you watch it once, you never watch again. And then he
That's
made he made the Assassin's Creed movie with Michael Fassbender, which was just god awful.
I
Like
didn't see that.
I watched that in the movie theater. So incredibly bad. And it's like Hollywood's like, all right, you're done. Get out of here. And then he made a movie I really like a few years ago called Knit Ram, which is the name Martin spelled backwards.
Whoa.
It's about I believe it takes place in Tasmania. It's about a mass shooter who goes on a killing spree, but they don't show the killing spree. They just show his mental decline. It's really good. It's extremely low budget. And the guy who plays the killer is Caleb Landry Jones. He's like a cool young actor. Um,
Was it based on the Port Arthur shooting or something? Or
I believe so.
yeah.
Okay. And it's extremely depressing movie. No one outside of Tasmania or Australia cares about it. Like if you go on Letterboxd or IMDb or Twitter, I remember the night it aired, people were like, couldn't believe it. They loved it. Like they were talking about it. Like I don't know if they loved it, but they were like, wow, that was such an intense movie. But it did not cause any waves here. He made a movie called The True History of the Kelly Gang. I still haven't watched that one. It looks kind of silly.
The Australian gang, the Kellys, right?
Yeah.
That's
And
is that the
then
one with the guy who had like the metal? I think he had like a metal suit of armor, right? He had like a maybe Ned Kelly. Ned Kelly.
he's like a famous outlaw.
Yeah.
I think it's like what, the 19th century maybe, or the early 20th century.
Yeah.
But then
1854.
but then he made this movie, and this movie's just getting dumped. It's this studio called Vertical is putting it out. Some people are into it, some people have seen it. It's not playing in a lot of theaters. Hopefully it does well on streaming, but it's kind of like Sicario, like those Taylor Sheridan movies, Hell or High Water. I think it's way better than Hell or High Water. Um, Sicario has like so much more money, so it doesn't really, you don't get that kind of um, spectacle and that level of production, but you kind of get some amazing bank robbery scenes and Brink's truck robbery scenes,
Yes.
and the character of Bob Matthews by Nicholas Hoult is fascinating, and I've been doing a lot of research on him. So I know like a lot of what really happened and what they changed in the movie. And that's the kind of stuff we can talk about. But I dig this movie.
Yeah. I did
Except for
watch
the
that one documentary you're talking about. I watched it the other day before I went to bed. It was pretty good.
It's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
I first heard about these guys because on HBO there was a Timothy McVeigh documentary.
He loves the Turner Diaries. He used to sell the Turner Diaries like when he was kind of traveling around before he started making that bomb. He would go to like different gun shows. He was at the Ruby Ridge situation, and he would sell like patches and copies of the Turner Diaries.
And then the Turner Diaries is a 70s fictional novel written like a diary. And I guess I haven't read it.
Yeah, me neither.
And it's
I
about a
don't want to
guy.
now, but whatever.
Yeah, like I mean, I'm sure it's terrible. So this guy he's like an anti-government guy, and he creates a domestic terrorist group to like attack the United States and do all these terrorist attacks. And one of them is blow up a federal building, which is what Timothy McVeigh did. The Guys No Order never did anything that big.
They bombed the theater or something, right?
They bombed some
And that
porno
actually
theaters.
happened.
Yes, it happened, but it's a much smaller theater.
Sure. It's not a federal building.
Than what the movie theater in the movie is.
Sure.
But there's a book called The Brotherhood or something like that, and that the movie's based on. It's pretty interesting. It's written by reporters who worked at this Denver, Colorado newspaper. Now, this story became big, and they got attention because one of the things they did was they killed a radio host. They assassinated him. And this guy they shot is in the movie is played by Mark Maron. His real name was Alan Berg. And there's a Oliver Stone movie called Talk Radio with Eric Bogosian. And it's based on Alan Berg. Alan Berg is, way before our time. But
He's like a big time liberal talk show host.
He was a big time liberal, but he was also a shock jock. It's like he's similar to Howard Stern in a lot of ways. Now, he didn't do any of the sexual stunts or have all the wacky people on, but he would just take calls. Have you seen what he looks like in real life?
You did send me that picture. It was pretty accurate.
Let's take a look at some.
He's just a big, bushy, bearded Jewish guy.
Yeah, so let's take a little look at this clip on YouTube.
Oh, he's got a Mo haircut.
Alan Berg TV show clip, 1982. I guess it's like local TV. Now, you see his hair?
Yeah, is that a wig? It's got to be.
He has this hair helmet. So
Here's Mr. Outlandish and Mr.
No,
he had a
no.
brain
Mr.
tumor.
Talented, and really with man who gets tremendous respect. Tom Martino, welcome to Channel 4.
Welcome. I'm here.
No, I guess he's doing like a news
A
segment.
lot of you know him already, quite obviously.
Wow, Mark Maron was a good pick. He sounds
I
just
think a
like
man
him.
in this town right now probably has as much credibility. When you talk about an issue, those people really listen.
You think so?
Unlike
That's
my
good.
show, they listen a lot.
Yeah, he was
It's
pretty
amazing.
liberal.
I've listened to some studies.
Whatever, that clip's boring. But he worked for the mafia because he was a Chicago lawyer.
Ah, okay,
And
there we go.
he was like, I'm not making any money. I need cases. And then a guy told him, like, all right, this is what you do. You get like a judge or a bailiff or someone to suggest you as a lawyer when people get arrested. They feed you clients. And so he was doing that. And then eventually he started getting more mafia clients. And he was like you can tell, like super liberal. But he started feeling bad, like, I don't want to get these mafia guys off. Like, what am I doing? And then he started fainting and he started having like these spells, these like seizures.
What?
And it's because he had a fucking brain tumor for
Oh, Jesus.
for like a long time and he had no idea. So he quit being a lawyer. He then opened a haberdashery in Colorado, a hat store. And he would sell hats and fancy like leather goods. And then he would just be in there talking. And this guy was like, you should be on the radio. I'm like with me, like I'm a radio guy. And like he ended up being a guest on his show and then kind of overtaking him enough on the air where people are like, yeah, let's give him a show. And he literally worked his way up. But then eventually, after years and years and years of having seizures, he realized he had a brain tumor, and then they had to like cut open the top of his head,
Oh,
take the brain tumor out, and he also was always smoking. Like in the movie, you see Mark Maron smoking.
that is one thing I love about this movie, and that we're starting to see in our movies more is the smoking. I love that.
People are I mean, Jude Law,
Makes smoking look so cool. I love that.
you can tell he smokes. Oh, but with his open heart surgery
Yeah.
scar. So this is what happens in the movie, and it happened in real life. Alan Berg drove a Volkswagen Beetle, parked his car, had a cigarette in his mouth, and a guy shot him with a MAC-10 automatic machine gun with a silencer 13 times.
Snake Plissken gun.
And it was like in a suburb, and people were like, what the fuck is this? Like, they couldn't believe it. And the guys who wrote the book said they have police scanners, the reporters.
Uh-huh.
And when the police said, let's switch to a private channel, that's when all the reporters get like, whoa, what happened? Like, this is something big, because that means they don't want anyone to hear it.
Sure.
So
You would think, why don't they just use that private channel all the time? But whatever.
I don't know. Maybe they have they had limited bandwidth. But anyway, this guy, people couldn't believe it. Like, this guy got like shot, like killed, like gunned down, like he was Malcolm X or something.
Drive by in the
And-
suburbs. Ah,
Yes. And it was like he had so many enemies because he would go on the air and he really would have these conversations with KKK members and Aryan Nation members, and just you hear a little bit in the movie where he's like, oh, if the Jews control everything, like, when do I get my prize, or when do I get my gold, or whatever? Like, I would love that. Don't you get? And they're like, you better shut up, man. But he pissed off a lot of people. And, you know, this area of the Pacific Northwest where the movie takes place, there's just a ton of these Aryan Nation dudes. Just
yeah.
running around.
Idaho is big time. Northern Idaho is like big time Aryan Nation type people.
So anyway, Alan Berg, RIP. But the movie talk radio, They do it's based I was surprised it was based on him because it's so different, and I didn't really put the connection together when I watched this, because that movie is so different. But at the end of Talk Radio, he is shot and killed by Fan. Not
White
uh
supremacist.
no, that's totally different. Okay, so
Mm.
then now Bob Matthews. Now here I've been doing some research. I've been reading this book. I only got it yesterday, so I'm reading it out of order, trying to find the most interesting parts. So he's from Phoenix, Arizona. He's a little kid. He joins the John Birch Society. Do you know what that is?
Yes, it's still around.
It's like this extremely intense anti-communist um Republican conservative group. I mean, I don't really know anything about it.
John Birch was like a famous Revolutionary War guy or something, right? He was like a
Yeah.
Minuteman.
Yeah. So when he's a little kid, he starts preaching all this anti-communist shit, and his parents are like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? We're not really into this." And he gets really into the Mormon church. And then when he's around 18, he gets his first job. He claims no wife on his tax form, but he claims 10 dependents. Okay, so
Nice.
he's really upset about paying federal taxes, and they're this is a big part of their whole thing is like they hate the federal government. And one thing they said, even though Nixon was president, he's Republican, they were extremely mad at Nixon because he opened relations with China, the communists, and didn't he mess with the Federal Reserve or something, or like the gold standard or something? Wasn't
It's when we went off the gold standard. It was during Nixon's presidency is when
Yeah.
we separated from the gold standard.
So they're just so upset with the federal government. They call in the book, they only refer to the FBI and the feds as ZOG. ZOG. Have you heard of this?
No, why Zog?
Zionist occupied government. And their other thing is they hate Jews, and they're like, but they want to be Jews because they
clearly.
love, because Israel,
They say
you
they're
know-
the true Israelites in the movie from they're like the Hoteps.
they say the Christians are the true Israelites, and they also want their own Israel.
Yeah.
That's what they want. In the Pacific Northwest, they want their own land of their, where everybody can be white.
If he was Mormon, that's Mormon ideology, right? In Mormon ideology, the Native Americans are the original Israelites, right? And
It's
so
very
that
similar.
makes
He
sense.
he was a Mormon convert. And also, converts are like really intense.
Also, that when he goes and kind of gets in with that religious, not order, but the larger group, I believe in real life, wasn't that group Mormon? They would be Mormon, not Christian, I thought, if I'm not mistaken.
They call themselves the Church of Jesus Christ Christian.
I believe they were Mormons, but I could be mistaken.
They could be in a different sect.
Yeah.
It's all so crazy, and it's also boring when you read
Yeah.
about it. I didn't read much about that guy who ran the Aryan Nations, Robert Butler. I just kind of skipped over his chapters. But the thing that's like really impressive, but also like tragic about all these guys is that they built these compounds and these houses in the middle of nowhere. They were chopping down trees. They're doing work. They're helping friends, and they're like, "Come on, help me move out to the woods. Like, we're gonna chop down trees and build buildings, and we're gonna do all this cool stuff." And they're like, a lot of these guys kind of had problems, and like didn't have direction in life. It's very much like Fight Club. And then they get like there's a story where his friend is like living with him in the woods, and he's his neighbor, and he opens the gas station, and then like one day his friend puts on Nat King Cole at a Christmas party, and the guy and Bob Matthews like walks outside, and he's like, "Oh, that's weird." And this guy, his friend, was never. He's from like Long Island. He ends up becoming the banker for the the order and their like tax cheat essentially. So he could really rope people in. And they said in the book, one thing he would do is he would tell everyone something different. So if you were down to like assassinate people, he would tell you like, yeah, we're gonna assassinate people. But if you thought killing was wrong, if you were very Christian, you thought like stealing was wrong, he would say like, yeah, we're not gonna steal. Like he would never bring that up. So that allowed him to gain new members, but that also ended up undoing him later on when the crimes became more intense.
Everyone's telling on everybody else.
Yeah, because they're like, this is like nuts what you guys are doing. Like you're committing like serious felonies and I'm scared. One thing they did was I didn't really get to it in the book. I really want to know more about it is how they got into counterfeiting.
Yeah,
Because
they didn't really explain that.
That's really complicated.
Yeah, you need the equipment.
And
the
they're
ink.
not rich. These
Yeah.
guys all worked at like dams or mines and they had menial labor jobs and they would make money on the side. Like they would cut down trees on their property and then sell that.
But the counterfeiting was after they did one heist, right? So maybe with the money from the first heist, they bought the equipment to counterfeit.
I'm not sure, but in the book, one thing they're doing is he's placing all these ads in like newspapers and magazines and getting people to write to him. He's like getting racist guys like, hey, have you been like hurt by affirmative action? One of the guys who writes to him works at Brinks in San Francisco. That's how they get the inside info on what truck to rob. Is
Awesome.
some guy is writing letters to him. And then
Intelligence from your people.
And then he has a guy in Philadelphia. That guy Martinez, the Mexican dude. That guy was in like Philadelphia. And they would do a thing where you're like, you spend the counterfeit money, you buy a candy bar, and they would counterfeit $10 bills. And then the $9,
Sure.
you put it in a book and you send it back to the order. And then they would have cash.
Interesting.
But they got picked up.
Yeah, that's making a paper trail immediately.
Because they would get greedy and they would do things like go to the same store twice, or he would say like, go to a store in a different state, but they're kind of lazy. They're naive. They don't really understand.
Also crossing state lines to commit a felony. I think that's another little check on your record.
I mean, counterfeiting is just a great way to get arrested. I mean, you get into so much trouble. And then when the Secret Service confronted the guy's like, they're like, can you tell us more about where you got this? And he's like, if I tell you, they'll kill me. And then the Secret Service is like,
now you got to tell us.
Yeah, like who? Like, what are you talking? Tell us more. So they don't talk about this in the movie, but in the real story, the amount of cars they're burning. So they buy cars on the classified ads, use them for a heist, and they'll have 2 cars and they'll have 4 cars for like groups of people. And then they're staying at hotels and they're going to diners and they're doing all this. They're interacting with so many people and there's so many of them that once they kill Alan Berg and do this Brinks job robbery, and the Brinks job robbery, they get almost $4 million. They're so screwed. They're like completely screwed because they're also buying guns. Now, in the movie, Bob Matthews drops a gun, a pistol, with a serial number.
I want to know what that gun is. There's no
Now,
IMDb on the guns yet.
So it's like a few weeks old. So that really did happen. But they said they were the guy's like, oh, I'm sorry, Bob. I bought that gun before I had my fake ID. Because they could use a fake ID in the 70s or early 80s, go to Montana, buy a gun, and then just drive to Idaho.
Yeah. There was no federal gun registry yet, if I'm not mistaken.
And there was no photos on the ID, or the IDs were so flimsy. Like, look up an early 80s ID. It's so simple.
No 10-day waiting period. You can buy 10 guns at once, like that guy did, which you can do in a lot of other states, not California.
So we talked about how they would blow up a porno theater. So the first crimes they did, and this is like one of my favorite things in the book, and I wish they had it in the movie. They need money. They just need money so bad because there's people moving in and there's people coming out, and it's a lot of mouths to feed, and they need guns, they need cars, they have payments to make. They're not rich. So they go like, all right, let's rob like pimps. Let's so
Nice.
they go to Spokane, Washington, which is not a big city, but for them it's really big because they really live in the woods. And they're like, okay,
Who's a
like what
pimp?
is
Let's find a
who's a
pimp.
pimp? Yeah, who's a pimp? Like, how do we find a pimp? And they would like drive around and like follow people. And they said like, oh, when you follow a person, they really notice. It's not like a TV show. You can't just
That's funny.
because they don't know anything. They're
Yeah, no
not
shit.
they thought they had to learn everything. So they're doing survivalism in the woods, building things, but dealing with crime is a whole other. They would go to bars and like scope out people and try to figure out like who's a pimp, like. But they did do a porno shop robbery. That was their first heist. They robbed a porno shop and they made like $300. And it wasn't profitable, but it was a big step for them.
How was it not
But
profitable?
I mean,
Their
it's
time,
profitable,
their
but it's not that profitable.
yeah.
And
It wasn't a big score.
plus, it was armed robbery.
Yeah.
It was
big
a
risk.
serious. It's a huge felony.
Right.
So they're kind of learning. But in the way the movie starts, we see them rob a bank. That's like the first thing we see them do. And they
A
have a
little
getaway
local
car.
bank, a small local bank or something.
The movie's ridiculous. So Jude Law just like rolls into Idaho. He's an FBI agent. He goes to the federal office. There's no one there. He's just like, we got to open this office again. It's been
It's a little lonely in here.
We do a little KKK stuff, like research. Now, I was thinking about this, why is the FBI into the KKK? And it's because the Federal Civil Rights Act is relatively new. And that's a federal law. You can't discriminate people. So it makes sense why they would investigate the KKK. Plus, guns, not paying taxes, all that shit. So
They just took down the mafia. They want to use their racketeering stuff. They got a lot of laws on the books for organized crime.
So in the movie, Jude Law plays a guy named Terry Husk. And he's a husk, baby. He's a husk of a man. He's empty and just a shell. Terry Husk.
Lost his family, lost his heart. Holy
Smoke
moly.
cigarettes. Lost his good
Just
looks.
wants to see the great out. He wants to see the great outdoors. That's what he's all about. He's a city boy. He's a city boy getting out to the country.
New York cop.
Yeah.
New York federal agent.
It's basically Die Hard in the woods.
Okay, now it's on the page, not great. Jude Law is good in the movie.
Yeah, he is.
He
also comes off as American. You forget that. I totally forget that he's like British or something.
What I like about Jude Law in this movie is that he's very quiet in the beginning, but when he gets angry, you believe him. You believe he could totally like manipulate, control, and scare the shit out of all of these guys. When he gets mad, he gets so mad, and it's such a great contrast with the quiet,
stoic type.
Yeah, and just the anger brewing, but he's in control. He kind of gets out of control, but he's still kind of in control. It's not, it's like movie shit. Now he meets this young sheriff, played by Ty Sheridan, who gives him the inside track on the order.
Because he's friends with all the dudes.
Yeah, and in the movie, it's just like these two guys are investigating, and Journey Smollett shows up and a few other FBI agents, and they take them all down. The real story is so complicated. It involves so many states, so many FBI agents, Secret Service, cop, sheriff. There's a scene in the movie where like the dumb older sheriff guy
The sheriff, the actual sheriff.
he's like, "Oh, I've seen that book before, The Turner Diaries." And Jude Law's like, "What the fuck, man? Why didn't you tell me about this? You had him 2 years ago." But in real life, that guy was like, "Oh, I've seen that book before. It was this guy." And they're all really happy for like, "Yeah, thanks for giving us the information." Like,
Yeah, I don't get where this whole thing comes up where like the local town cops hate the feds. Like, I don't think that is a real life trope. I don't understand that.
the good old boys. Now,
Yeah. They probably like having the FBI there. They get all the cool technology and extra resources.
the FBI's, they're the ones who can do wires and they have the money to actually
Yeah.
do an investigation. All a
Sure.
cop can really do is walk up to you, knock on your door, and see if you want to talk.
Yeah.
They don't, and then if you say no, they're not gonna
Or
put a
just
wa-
don't answer the door.
Yeah, they're not gonna have like undercover
You only answer the door if there's a warrant. That's the only time you answer the door if the cops are there.
cops do the stupidest things. They
Yeah.
pretend to be prostitutes. They like pretend to buy drugs. They just do the most basic chicken shit, shakedown,
Low level crimes.
because it's just like giving tickets. You gotta make arrests. You gotta give out tickets. You gotta do the little things and rack up numbers, because they believe that the most effective thing is get the obvious people off the streets. And if a guy that sells drugs, well, he probably has a gun. He probably could kill someone in a robbery. He could probably do something bad. So I don't know. I mean, I wish
It's a
cops were
losing battle.
smarter. Cops should be smarter and have more and be more educated. But
Cops should have law degrees, but you would never be able to pay them enough, and it's just a mess. So instead, you have them. They mop everything up, and then the DA sorts out what is a case and what isn't, and it's just a mess.
plus, cops shouldn't be looking for crime.
No,
And with all the bells and whistles, no.
you shouldn't
That
be
would
arrested for intent. They shouldn't be thinking about intent.
They should just I
Kill
don't know.
rapists.
Yeah.
Even though that's something they don't really, their solve rate on that is extremely low. They stop property crimes. They protect private property rights. That's what they do.
They show up late and they don't do shit.
Yeah, they just mop up and write a report.
And if you have a gun, if a gun's involved, then it's kind of a bigger deal. Kind of. But who busts gangs? FBI. Like Highland Park in LA had a huge gang problem called the Avenidas. The FBI took them down. FBI does all the big shit. So anyway, in the movie, they do the good old boy thing. It's kind of like, I think this cliche kind of comes from Silence of the Lambs. The sheriffs are kind of dumb in that movie.
Yeah.
And, the FBI comes in and serial killer guys. I think with the FBI,
profilers or whatever, profilers.
yeah, they would have a lot of hard time finding serial killers because they never fit the profile. But these guys kind of fit the profile. And
DNA evidence wasn't readily available yet either, which is a huge step in solving crimes now.
So, they start investigating the robberies, and there's a guy missing because they kill one of their own partners for talking too much. I think that really did happen. And that and the Alan Berg thing really got the investigation going.
What a stupid thing to murder Alan Berg. You get nothing for it. And you just brought all that heat on you for nothing, for killing someone that you think is annoying.
And they had plans to kill like so many guys. They had so many plans.
One of the steps was assassinate. It was like step 3 is assassinate or something in the Turner Diaries.
They wanted to kill like the president of like NBC News or something. They wanted to kill like U.S. attorneys who prosecuted other
nice
anti-federalist people. They had talked about poisoning the water supply in LA because that would create a race war or something.
They always want to spark off a race war. They always think everything's going to spark a race war, and it never does. We're not that stupid.
Now,
Thank God. So far, we're not that stupid.
so have you heard of New Africa?
No. What is
Okay,
that?
so it's not just the Aryan Nation guys who are into this stuff. There were leftists who were into starting their own country for black people, and they wanted to do a thing called New Africa
Like
Yeah.
Liberia or something?
in Atlanta, the Black
Oh,
Liberation Army,
Hotlanta.
in the 70s. So you've heard of Chase Boudin.
Yes, the district attorney for San Francisco.
He recently lost re-election.
No, he was recalled.
He was recalled.
Yeah.
His mother, okay,
Blew someone up.
his mother was involved in a Brinks robbery in the 70s,
Awesome.
which I believe is the inspiration for the robbery at the end of Dead Presidents.
Oh, okay.
Remember they robbed the Brinks?
Okay, yeah.
And it's like the drug dealer guys and the revolutionary guys,
Whoa.
and their faces are painted white and they look awesome, and they're just they're shooting people. Okay, Kathy Bodine. Okay, God, I should have gotten this video queued up. But I guess we can edit it. So Kathy Bodine, she was is she part of the Weather Underground? Yeah, she's part of the Weather Underground.
Oh, she was. Okay.
She did a Brinks shop thing. So while this Aryan Nation thing is going on,
Black Panthers, the Weathermen. I don't know who else you'd say.
New Africa.
The move movement in Philadelphia.
Republic of New Africa.
Okay.
And it's spelled with a K. They bought land in Atlanta on a farm, and that freaked these people out.
Oh no, black people are farming. Ah, scary.
Well, they were also marching with rifles
Tight.
in an organized way in military fatigues.
Oh, okay. So now when they do it, it's bad.
I think they also didn't even have the land. I think they were just renting it or leasing it.
Sharecroppers.
But I can't find the video. I'm so disappointed. So the Brinks job robbery, that's the big thing they do besides the counterfeiting. And some of the details in the book are great compared to the movie. So in the movie, it's kind of like Heat. It's very similar. They pull over the Brinks truck. It's loaded with cash. I love how they talk about in the movie. They're like, it goes from San Leandro to San Francisco to Ukiah. And I'm like, San Leandro, that's where I'm from.
Yes.
Shout out.
I might see this movie in San Leandro over the weekend too. Bayfair.
They like I said, a guy in San Francisco worked at the Brinks company, wrote him a letter, and he would correspond with them.
It's like Goodfellas kind of too.
Yeah.
Lufthansa heist.
Because you think why would they go to San Francisco? That's that must be complete hell for them. But they kind of like the idea of robbing San Francisco.
They're saying it was some sort of money movement from Northern California up to Washington. Why that would happen, I don't know. Whatever.
Maybe is there a federal bank?
Yeah, Federal Reserve somewhere. There's one in San Francisco though, so why would they? But whatever, who knows?
Yeah. So in the movie, it's kind of like Heat. They're very organized. They have a couple of pickup trucks. They do a cool thing where they shoot the window. They shoot the tires. They lay out this
tax strip.
What do you call it?
Tax strip, or it pops the tires when you run over it.
They have that, and then some dude there's a dude in a pickup truck who's watching them. He gets a little antsy, pulls out his handgun. They Now Bob Matthews, he was the ringleader of this robbery, and it goes pretty similar to how they presented it, or it did happen like that in the movie. They get a bunch of money. He drops his gun. They're able to like track them based on the gun, and they get more evidence. Blah blah blah. Now, some of the things they didn't have in the movie. So, in the real life story, CB radio was a bigger part of this. They had guys just sitting in cars watching the road looking for the Brinks truck. And they had actually even spotted it the week before, and they realized because they wanted to confirm it comes every week, where it goes, and
Yeah, you case
yada
it.
yada yada.
Yeah, do a little observation.
It was really involved. The amount of cars they had to buy was a pain in the ass. Okay, so here's some of the funny details. One of the guys was dressed like a woman. He to disguise himself.
Sure.
He shaved his arms, his legs. He wore women's clothing. He wore a wig. And they went to a diner, and the woman at the diner was like, "Oh, hello, ma'am." I think he was just I could be wrong, but I think he was the guy in the car watching the highway and monitoring a radio.
Okay.
So they had their CB radio guy like watching and waiting for the truck to drive up. They also had to just sit around and wait for hours because it was hot and they're bored. And they're getting it's like really intense just waiting for this Brinks truck to arrive. Now, when the Brinks truck did come, they never had a tack strip. What they had were a couple boxes of nails, and they would throw the nails into the road. And the other thing that happened was the movie doesn't convey it. A lot more trucks and vehicles stopped and had to wait and were watching them because the highway traffic was building up.
Sure. Civilians.
And they were stopped for 7.5 minutes.
Hmm.
And the other thing, like there was a couple other things, like the guy in the Brinks truck didn't put on the e-brake and the car rolled back. That's why they shot the tires. Oh, and this is my favorite detail. It's so crazy. Bob Matthews wanted to buy a bazooka and they couldn't get one. So he had a large paper roll made out of cardboard, like a big cardboard tube, and they painted it black. And he told one of the guys, like, hold it like it's a bazooka. And the guy did. And the Brinks guys thought it was really a bazooka.
Freaked out, huh?
They were like freaking the fuck out. They're like, they have a bazooka. Like, and also that gets you way more FBI attention.
Yeah.
The FBI is going to be like, what did they have, a bazooka?
I was wondering why the dudes in the truck just didn't stay in the truck. But if they had a bazooka, that might entice you to leave the truck.
Yeah, and it's not your money ultimately. Like,
yeah, that's a good point.
They did have armor piercing bullets.
Oh, that's probably why too, huh?
To break in the glass. They would shoot the top of the glass,
crack it, and then kick it out.
Well, they would shoot just to show them, like, hey, we could kill you, but get out because like we don't actually want to kill you.
Those dudes don't get paid shit, so they don't care. Whatever, they get out. And people love that job because you get to carry a gun, so they don't have to pay him shit. And
then also this thing where the guy pulls out a gun and they shoot him. I don't think that happened.
No, you'd probably know about that if that happens. They'd probably put that in the book.
There was a lot of cars backed up, and a lot of them had CB radios, and were calling it in. And they're like, hey, there's like a Brinks truck robbery, and these guys have guns. And then the other guy who was the watchman down the road, he got on his CB radio. He's like, what are you doing making up stories?
I don't see nothing. I don't see nothing out there.
Don't. This is a public channel. Don't blabber that nonsense. But it was a hell of a haul to get all these bags of money that they stole back to where they lived.
Yeah, I would imagine. How they didn't get tracked, or they're on the 101 or the one there. I mean, it's just a 2-lane highway. How do they not figure out where they were going?
They had double dump cars.
Oh, they had two cars loaded with cash, huh?
And and this is why it was so expensive, because it's like you spend 1,000 on one car, you got to spend 1,000 on the next, and like they would use a car for like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Burner cars, essentially.
So they have,
Stolies, maybe, if you could.
and then they had some system where they could exchange the money for uncirculated bills. I forget how that worked.
Money
or I didn't
laundering?
some money laundering system. So it wasn't easy to do any of this stuff.
That makes it even
Um,
more impressive.
Plus, the targets they were doing were so big, and I mean, it's literally domestic terrorism. So of course, the FBI is going to stop them. It's not like they're doing. If you're just killing criminals like the mafia, the public doesn't care the same way as if you're just like blowing up a federal building. I mean,
Yeah.
that's obviously going to piss people off.
Well, and you think that organized crime is killing other organized crime members, so they don't care as much. These guys were killing cops and killing some people that might be considered innocent. So, I mean, that's going to be much more hot to do.
Yeah. So now in the movie, there's another robbery of a Brinks truck before this that I didn't talk about. And I want to talk about that because it's a really good scene for Jude Law. Like they rob this, they blow up a porno theater as a diversion. And he knows that because he heard that story about how they had one bomb that didn't go off. So there is a good setup there. Like he goes, that's not it. That's a diversion. And then they go like, oh, a Brinks truck robbery. And he's like, that's it. Let's go. And he's driving. He's like driving off fast. He's like, we got to get there. Come on. And Ty Sheridan's like the young, naive guy. And he's like freaked out. Like, this is really intense. And Jude Law's like, all right, I'm getting out. You cover me. And then he gets out and he just like shoots at a car and just blows out their back window. And then you see the robbers come and they drive by really slowly and look at him. And he realizes like he shot at the wrong vehicle. And he could have been killed because they had the gun pointed right at him. And he goes back to the car and he's like screaming at Ty Sheridan.
Yeah, he blames it all on him.
He's like, where are you? Didn't you fucking hear me? Did you fucking hear me? Like punches the glass windshield. And he looks so angry in this scene. This was the scene in the movie where I was like, okay, I like this movie. I like when people get mad and react. There's this movie that people like that I hate. I think it's awful. It's called Green Room. Have you heard of this movie?
No.
People go like, oh, Green Room is so cool. Like, oh, that's a really cool crime movie. I mean, that movie, it's not terrible, but to me it is. Everybody likes it. People like love this movie. It's about these punk rock dudes and their band, and they go play a show in the Pacific Northwest. And the venue they're playing at turns out to be like Aryan Nation guys. And they're like, they sing the song Nazi Punks Fuck Off. Show them. But anyway, here's a scene in the movie I really hate, and it made me hate the whole movie, and I found it to be unforgivable. So one of the Nazi guys has a girlfriend, and he gets mad at her, and he like kills her. He like chokes her to death. Okay, and then we also know that these guys are like dealing tons of heroin at this location.
Fair enough.
So one of the Nazi guys tells like the middle manager guy, like, hey man, that dude just killed his girlfriend. He's like, all right, okay, I guess we'll hide the body. Like, okay. You would be so incredibly mad at the guy who murdered someone at the drug lab, because it'd be like, hey man,
don't shit where you eat.
That's a huge amount of heat. You just killed someone here, and we have to get rid of a body. And a body there's question. Where did my daughter go? We're looking for our daughter?
I don't know.
I don't know, man. Shut up.
I was the last to see her, but I don't know.
Everybody said she went into a room with you and now she's disappeared. Okay, it's like, just get mad. That's a huge problem. And it brings them down in the movie. But if you're doing crime, you don't necessarily like the people you're doing crime with.
Right, right.
It's not like you're not doing it because you're like, hey, we're a gang of dudes
And-
having fun.
They're all unreliable criminals. You know, you gotta you're relying on other dishonest people.
You're paranoid.
Yeah, you gotta be.
Now in the Order, this was a big problem. A lot of these guys, you know, they didn't have the history of crime. They didn't have the best lives. So yeah, they're like, they'd want to drink. They want to, see their girlfriend. They had problems at work.
They got bills to pay, mouths to feed.
So like Bob Matthews would have all these rules, like you can't drink more than 2 beers. You can never definitely do not do drugs. He tried, but ultimately the whole thing came crashing down. In the
He had a good
movie,
run at it.
they get his wife to she tells the FBI where he went. It's called Whidbey Island. Whidbey Island is one of those little islands off the coast of Washington. I looked up the
It's
Wikipedia.
like Bellevue, Washington, Bellingham. Whatever.
There's just all these little islands.
Yeah, going up to Canada, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
in those bays and stuff.
Yeah,
I've never been up there.
Me neither.
Apparently, Carl Weathers used to live on this island.
Oh, nice. This
I don't know if
scene is a little blown out of proportion. I would guess just
scene,
slightly.
This scene is blown out of proportion, but the things that are true are kind of amazing.
How many FBI agents did Bob Matthews kill himself?
0.
Shot
Shot 0. He withstood 75 FBI agents.
Okay, but didn't kill any of them? Come on, man.
He fired a MAC-10
Uh-huh.
through the floor.
Oh, he did.
He fired the MAC-10 machine gun at them through the floor in a Z fashion, back and forth.
Uh-huh.
And they got the hell out of there.
Okay.
And
then just firebombed him.
He was one man in a 35-hour standoff.
Holy shit.
Okay. Now in the movie, which this is so infuriating to do this, Jude Law's like, I'm going to go in there.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. That was so stupid.
And he
no
goes
problem breathing in the smoke, being burned by the fire.
He goes into a burning building.
Has to have a showdown.
He does the thing where he has his gun on him and he has his gun on him.
They both lower their gun out of respect.
He's like, come on, Bob. It's over.
It's over.
No way. And the bullets are exploding and burning and
yeah.
Okay, but no, that didn't happen. This guy.
What about sliding on a gas? Well, I don't want to ruin too much, but putting on a gas mask and then slowly lowering himself into a tub of water. Did that happen?
His body was found in a bathtub.
What?
And their necklaces, which were made out of gold, had melted into his skeleton.
Sick. That's pretty fucking metal.
Like I'm saying, the way to do this movie needs a 4-hour Netflix documentary. It needs a real detailed story of what happened with all a lot of these guys are alive.
That would be awesome, like an Errol Morris documentary or something, or a
3-hour. I mean, I listened to a really good podcast called The Brotherhood of Death. It's a very small, low budget podcast. It's 3 episodes. They did a good job. That's where I learned everything about Alan Berg. And it's an audio podcast. They talk to the authors of the books. That was interesting. But yeah, I don't think there's any footage of this.
Yeah, we need less fiction, more documentary.
Like I said, all the stuff with them building this out from nothing, going to looking for the pimps, robbing the porn store, buying the guns, training, learning all these things. It's so fascinating. And also Netflix, New Africa, Republic of New Africa. I need to know more about Republic of New Africa.
You should watch that documentary called "Let the Fire Burn" about the move activists in
In
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia,
Oh, that shit is fucking awesome, bro. Those dudes were cool.
they had guns, I
They had
imagine.
guns and just they had like this. They like boarded up the house and had this speaker system around the outside where they would just like scream profanity and stuff that they all this crazy shit. I mean, they definitely were not good neighbors.
The
A funny thing too, when I saw this movie during the preview, like there was some violent movie being previewed, and the lady behind me, I could just hear her saying like, "Oh, violent video games, violent movies," and her husband just like totally ignoring her. And then the scene where Bob shows his son how to shoot a gun, she was just like freaked out, like, "Oh my god, I can't believe." I could just hear her just like freaking out about that. And also at the end, when they just show the text on the screen where they're like, "Oh, this book, the Turner Documentaries, has been used by and the January 6th insurrectionists." The guy next to me goes, "Insurrection?" Ha!
yeah, that's how my audience was.
It was so
Like-
funny.
Everybody in my audience, I went the first night I went, Thursday night, like 9:30, 10 p.m.
Mhm.
And I go in this little movie theater in Universal City by Universal Studios. And there's just like 12 dudes in hoodies. And we're all just sitting there in our hoodies by ourselves. No one is like with a girl. Every dude is by themselves. And we're just watching this movie like, please don't suck. And then you could tell they're like very on a line because, you know, when the Aryan Nation guy is like, you know, we don't believe in super, or like, what does he say? Like about the federal government? He's like, oh, I'm not, we're not a cult, not like you and the federal government. And then
Boom.
like all the guys started like snickering in the audience.
It's funny.
So as I was leaving, I was like, was every guy in there just by themselves in a hoodie sitting by himself? And then I saw this like dude just macking his girlfriend in the back row, just like
Oh yeah.
during the credits. And then he looked at me and then I got like scared and I briskly walked out.
Oh, another funny thing is this lady comes in with her two kids, or I don't know, maybe her older kids, her teenage kids, and she goes up to her seats and she's like, what is this? Where is this? And they're like, "No, this is row so and so G." No, she's like, no, what is this? What movie is this?
Oh, she just walked in.
Yeah, we're like, the order, you know. And then she sits down and watches the movie. It was fucking hilarious.
Pretty good.
Yeah, people are so funny.
Yeah, they don't. It's really hard to movie hop now because they don't label the marquee.
The times.
They just have a number like theater 9.
Oh,
theater
I see
3.
what you're saying. Yeah.
But
Not like when we were kids.
now one person we didn't talk about is Jurnee Smollett. Her character is a little underwhelming, but she's the only black character in the movie.
It's a good point. I didn't notice that.
So you do need you have your Jew, Mark Maron, you need your black character. Her big emotional scene is like she looks at one of the signs they have in their house and it's like running N-word target, and then she gets like she's like so dead.
She wanted to be friends with them. She thought they were going to be able to be like, she was going to turn them around and prove to them that she's worthy of her title.
And then she's like,
the FBI.
There's like swastikas everywhere and like they're like burning crosses
for fun on their own property. He's like, don't do that. Don't do that, guys. Don't do that.
And then she runs in and like grabs the wife and is like, where is he, bitch? Come on, tell me. And Jude was like, hey, come on, calm down.
Police work.
I saw the movie a second time in the theater, and there was an director Q&A. And Jurnee Smollett said her character was originally written as a man. It's probably a very bland character. And her thing, she talked to female FBI agents who were black in the 70s. What it was like, and they all said the same. They all said this thing like it's really lonely, and you kind of have to be perfect. You can't fuck anything up.
Can't be a loose cannon like Jude Law.
No, man. The FBI. I listened to a podcast about a guy who was an FBI agent, what it was like going to FBI Academy. They investigate the students.
Of
They have like
course.
they have like files on you when you're late. Where were you? What were you doing?
Who were you with?
Yeah, like if you could leave the place and come back, like they're like writing files and they burn a ton of students. Like,
Oh, for sure.
you know, tons of people don't graduate the class. And it just sounds like such a horrible, horrible place to work. I mean, everybody is completely paranoid.
Yeah.
And also everybody thinks everybody's a criminal and they don't make a lot of money. They
Yeah,
can't.
again, see, when I talk about a cop with a law degree is an FBI agent, and still they don't get paid like what a lawyer would get paid. So what would be the point? Why would you want to do that, you know?
You get a ton of experience and you learn a ton about the system, but
Yeah.
then this guy, he got out and went to cybersecurity.
I think, isn't there like an upper age limit for FBI agents too? I think at a certain age you have to retire or something. I could be mistaken.
Yeah, you can't just be the desk
Yeah.
guy.
A 60-year-old FBI agent, 65-year-old FBI agent.
Although I say that, and yet most of their agents are desk agents, and most of them are looking at bank statements, emails, white collar crime evidence. That's how they figure all this shit out.
Sure.
And I had a friend who was questioned by the FBI, and they have like recordings of him on the phone. They play for you,
Jesus Christ.
and you're just like you can't deny anything. Like it's just they got you dead to rights. Usually when they question you, they know a lot.
Sure. Just don't agree to be questioned, right?
Well, not everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's under. Or are they pressing charges? Are you under arrest? I don't fucking know.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. It's crazy.
Um,
Did he get in trouble?
Not exactly. I don't
Okay.
think so.
Okay, good.
It was just like media. He worked at a DVD company. He shared a screenshot of a DVD before it came out.
A copyright thing. Oh shit. That sucks.
So
he's facing a fine or something, huge fine.
the FBI warning at the beginning.
Yeah. You gotta take that take that for granted.
Trying to think, is there anything else in the movie worth talking about? I mean, we got Mark Maron shot by the machine gun.
I didn't have time to put together a gun corner, but I mean, if you like guns, this movie has basically every friggin' cool gun, every cool pistol, every cool submachine gun, every cool rifle. That's one thing I do like about movies that we watch that are either from the 80s or based in the 80s is you get a lot of submachine guns. You get your MAC-10, your MP5. In this movie, there was a PSH. And that makes sense because with the advent of modern Kevlar body armor, it kind of negated the use of pistol rounds because a bulletproof vest will stop a pistol round that submachine gun shoot, and plate armor that they wear now, the cops wear, I mean, it'll just bounce off. You see kids with their Glocks, with their Glock with the switch, which is basically a submachine gun, but you don't really see people using a Tech 9 or a MAC-10 on the street anymore. It's a whole different thing. Everyone's got an AR now, and in movies.
Now, at the end of the movie, his body armor is way too good for the time, right? I mean,
was he wearing body armor?
He's wearing gas mask and he's wearing like Kevlar, doesn't he?
Oh, I didn't see that. Maybe he was. Yeah.
Helmet.
Yeah. I doubt he would have all that.
Like SWAT team started in the 70s in LA, and it took them a long time to get all this military equipment
the
local police station.
The hand-me-down stuff. So yeah, the military stopped using submachine guns, so that stuff started getting, and then you got the short barrel rifle ban and all these different things that came into play that got rid of submachine guns.
So like an Uzi, the whole point of an Uzi is just that you have access to 9mm bullets. So let's make a gun that shoots a bunch of 9mm bullets fast.
Sure, it's compact. You can wield it around real easily, like in an urban setting, and but it shoots faster than a pistol.
It's not accurate, right?
It's a little underpowered. Short barrel does make it less accurate. So that's another reason why. whatever you're going to do with a submachine gun, you might as well do with an AR, you know, and have a bigger bullet or bigger, more power behind the bullet, more gunpowder.
They said Allen Berg, there were 45 rounds.
Yeah, yeah.
0.45.
Yeah, Mac 10 comes in 0.45 and 9mm.
And also the cops were like, this was like neighbors didn't hear this.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
why
the
they knew
suppressor.
that's why they knew they had the suppressor, because they're like, what the hell kind of gun is this? So yeah.
All that was available back then for sure. My
With
father claimed he had grenades in the 80s. I don't know if that was true or not, but he claimed that he had grenades.
People, they must have had them. I mean, Tarantino told a story about a friend having a grenade.
Yeah, yeah.
And he laid out the bag of Coke and he had a grenade, and that was like a party.
Just like, why turn it in? What was the impetus to make my father turn those grenades in and not keep them?
Well, what if you blew up a grenade?
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
It's just a pin holding that whole thing together.
You don't remember as a kid playing hide and seek, and you'd hide in your dad's closet and you'd see all of his rifles hiding there right next to you. Like, oh, what are these? Oh, should I? No, I better not touch them.
My dad had a Glock.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about how he got arrested with the what's it called? Holster. Now, what he would tell us about the Glock was you could walk through airport metal detectors with this. He said it was a plastic gun. Or ceramic.
Yeah. It has metal parts in it.
Of course.
Yeah.
But as a kid, I believed him. I was like, oh, that's such a cool gun. And
that was the advent of the polymer Wonder 9s. Yeah, that's when they all came around. But they're not all plastic, just most of it, a lot of it.
So in elementary school, I would do an assignment every week where we learned a different letter. And I remember for the letter M, we had to cut out pictures from magazines of words that began with M. And he had guns and ammo. So I made this collage of like machine guns and masks and like all these M words from guns and ammo. And it was like, I wish I still had it, because in my memory, it was like crazy looking.
Yeah.
Like so cool. All the pictures are like black and white.
Your manifesto.
It looks like a manifesto. Now, what happened to all the money? That's one thing we haven't talked about. What happened to all the money? They stole all this money, and the FBI only recovered a few $100,000. I have bad news for you. Bob Matthews sent the money to the other Aryan Nation guys and other gangs and other groups, and they just like paid their bills with it. They just like didn't do shit. They didn't do anything. Like I think,
what a great leader.
Well, his problem was no one was as good as him.
Yeah. There's no other figurehead to move it on to.
Until Timothy McVeigh, basically.
The man. The biggest domestic terrorism of all time.
I always forget, is it 136 killed or 163?
Oh, I don't know off the top of my head. Until the Twin Towers, it was the biggest act of terrorism by body count in the history of the U.S.
More than the anarchists, like orphanage bombing of the early 20th century. You know that one?
No, I did not. Maybe.
You look at like World Trade Center, Federal Building in Oklahoma. That's a lot of dead people. But look at Hiroshima, Nagasaki. I mean, those are numbers. That's no one can beat the U.S. government.
No, two of them.
These are two bombs. Hundreds of thousands, right? 50,000.
It's got to be.
Plus the radiation. But then you look at like Russia in World War II. They have like what?
Be right back.
30 million dead.
Oklahoma City was 168. I can't find this orphanage thing you're talking about. 168, including 19 children, which Timothy McVeigh said that he regretted. He didn't know that there was a children's like
Daycare center.
daycare center right next to where he put the bomb.
Wow. But he was happy to kill all the Oklahoma City federal agents.
It remains the deadliest act of domestic terrorism in U.S. history.
And he got the death penalty. He was killed.
Yeah, one of the last people killed by the federal government.
We don't have the chemicals. It's very interesting how that they don't have the ability to do this.
So why don't they just switch back? I mean, I am not a purveyor of the death penalty. I am against the death penalty in all cases. Why can't they just use firing squad or the hanging? They still use firing squad in Utah. Why can't they just put that to the other places? And what happened to the gas chamber?
Gas chamber was considered cruel and unusual. That's the problem. The cruel and unusual punishment is a real stickler in the
Constitution.
Yeah. It's really easy to argue any of these are cruel and unusual. And also the federal government's a huge bureaucracy. And there's plenty of people to stop something. There's plenty of judges. The Supreme Court can say let's execute people. That's totally constitutional. But what is cruel and unusual?
Yeah.
That is the stickler. And ruins everything. And also these guys who do it no doctor wants to do it.
No, they can't. They don't do it.
So
that's the other problem they have is they're like sticking them. Some dude is just sticking them, and they can't do it because of the Hippocratic Oath. So they just have jailers do it. And obviously they are not the most talented at that. So it gets all fucked up.
Why don't you have I think firing squad is way better.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if they still do hanging in any states. I don't think so.
It's also really messed up because of the guy. They tell guys this is your date, and then the date comes, and they're like, "We're not doing it."
No clemency. The weather's bad.
So they kind of live on this this perpetual state of not knowing what's going to happen to them. It's just all bad.
Yeah, nothing good came of that. It's coming of that. I think in Russia they even got rid of the death penalty, and we still got it here.
Whoops.
Impartial judges. Like Detroiters would get a taste of what
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
About here when State Representative James Del Rio and the Reverend Clarence L. Franklin would awaken Detroit Recorder's Court Judge George Crockett from his Sunday morning slumber. The reason for the wake-up call took place right here on Detroit's west side at the New Bethel Baptist Church.
This isn't it.
On the night before,
Whatever. Where's the farmers? This is a Detroit one. I was looking for an Atlanta one.
Yeah, they got a picture of the South in the corner, but they're talking about Detroit. Those cute little police scooters.
Look at their flags. Why can't we secede, dude?
The Cascadia movement, that's the one where California, Washington, and Oregon separate.
Do they want California?
I guess. Oh, I'm sorry. No, Cascadia does not include California. It's Oregon, Washington, and part of Canada.
Yeah.
It includes part of Northern California.
Right. The state of Jefferson. They're pretty crazy out there.
What about ratings? What are we rating this movie?
First time I saw it, I gave it 4. Second time, this deer hunter thing, the husk thing, that bothered me. I give it 3.5. I mean,
really?
It's tough. I really don't like this deer hunter ripoff thing at the end. It really bothers me.
Yeah, it's only in 2 parts, but yeah, I get that. There's a huge
thing we didn't talk about. All right, do your rating real fast.
I was going to give it a 4.5. It's a cool new movie, and I think it's a good reason to get out and go see a movie. So I would highly recommend anybody to go see it. It's not
Yep.
perfect, but it's great. I give it a 4.5.
Also, this director's really good, and the action scenes are great.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I said like the best robbery scene since Heat.
Now,
Obviously, see the influence.
we didn't talk about one. Okay, this is the last thing. So the one thing we didn't talk about, the one huge change. Now in the movie, this hotel thing where Bob Matthews runs out of the hotel and the FBI guy chases him. And then the movie, it's like Ty Sheridan didn't get out of the car in the Brinks job, but this time he's like, come on, let's go. Like he's like ashamed of not being proactive or whatever. So now he's chasing him and he runs around a corner and then Bob Matthews shoots him right in the chest. And it's like, boom, boom. And it's really intense watching him die, like bleed to death. He's like, and like the blood's pouring out. And Jude Law's like, come on, come on. And then Jude Law's hands get covered in blood and he washes his hands with the dirt. And it's like really gross. And then he has to go and tell the wife, like, your husband died and it's all my fault. And I know you didn't like me. And I know you didn't like this. So
That
the
made me
real
tear up. That
story,
made me tear up a little bit. I'll be honest.
it's really intense and the acting's good. In real life, during the motel siege, they chased him. Bob Matthews shot a cop in the leg.
What you also left out was the scene, maybe like one or two scenes before that, the cliche thing where Jude Law tells Tyler Sheridan that when he was in New York, he had a confidential informant that got killed and they chopped their head off. Yeah, they chopped their head off. They chopped their arms off and never found who did that.
They never found the body.
And Tyler Sheridan's like, well, why are you telling me this? And then he gets murked 2 scenes later.
I think it would have been cool if he just got shot in the leg.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And he's like, and the wife is like pissed and scared. Like, I think that could be interesting.
Yeah,
in
that
this movie.
that could be more dramatic than what they did.
And there's plenty of dangerous shit they're doing. I mean, they just need to tone back the script a bit. Now, his next movie is about marijuana dealers
Oh,
and some of the shit they got into. So hopefully he doesn't have the same screenwriter. Hopefully it can be a little better, but I don't need this cops and robbers shit. Make it about the criminals. The criminals are way cooler than the cops.
is there some movie like that glorifies the criminals and lets them win? Is there any movie like that?
Well, like Scarface and Goodfellas.
But he gets
Godfather.
killed. They
get
die.
killed. Yes,
Everyone
they get
rats.
killed. But like they get killed or they go to jail. That's all that can happen.
Yeah, blow.
Casino, he kind of avoids both of those.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
He never becomes a rat.
No, he doesn't.
He's technically not in the mafia either.
He's Jewish.
Ace is high.
There was a Jewish mafia, but he wasn't part of that either.
Now, the Jewish mafia movie is Once Upon a Time in America.
Oh, I never seen that.
Robert De Niro and James Woods. It's very uneven, but it has some cool stuff in it. But yeah, like I like this movie a lot. I mean, I recommend people watch it.
Yeah, I thought that's what the rating was do you recommend it to watch? And I would say, yeah, go pay $10 and see this.
I wish it was better because it's so cool. It's so cool when they rob the Brinks trucks.
Sure.
The music, it's so intense. Just shooting the glass of the Brinks truck, the windshield, just like, get the fuck out.
Throwing him on the ground. I love that too. Just, man, it would feel so good to just hold someone at gunpoint like that.
Also,
so
like,
intense.
With movies today, they're so dumb and the crimes are so over the top. It's just like you can make something really exciting where no one gets killed because no one gets killed in these robberies. You don't have a car chase. You don't need car chases and CGI and all this bullshit. Because if you ground the characters, robbing a Brinks truck is fucking intense.
For sure.
If like having armed robbery is very intense. and then the net closing in on you, and you just get more and more like freaked out, and paranoid. There's this movie people love called Den of Thieves. Have you seen this?
No, but there's a second one coming out, right? I saw the preview during this movie.
I mean, this movie. I can't even finish the first one. It's
Oh, it's
so
that bad?
long and it's so boring, and it's
Den
just
of
like,
Thieves, a chest of broken toys.
you know, they rob a Brinks truck at a donut shop. They kill all the guards like heat.
Yeah.
You know, like just kill them, and then the guy drops his donut on the ground, and then the next day Gerard Butler, who just got caught cheating on his wife, he's like, "I'm hungry, I need breakfast," and he like eats the donut off the ground. And then this like slick FBI guy is like, you're just a fucking mess. You look like a piece of shit. You disgrace. He's like, what? I'm hungry. I'm a cop.
I gotta eat donuts.
I think are the robbers in the movie the cops, or is that another shitty new movie?
I didn't see it, but it seemed like he was going to be a dirty cop, and that he was going to go on one of the heists with them, is what it seemed like in the preview. But
Or
I
is it
haven't seen the first one.
undercover?
It
I
could
don't
be.
know. I don't know. I'm not really into modern action movies. Now, next week, Christmas is Christmas week for us. You around? You want to? I was thinking we just do Die Hard. We just do a mainstream movie everybody has seen.
Christmas is actually Wednesday, right? So we're gonna have to do it another day.
Tuesday night.
Tuesday night's good for me.
So you
Actually,
like
any day but Wednesday next week is good for me. Yes, I do like Die Hard a lot.
You have seen Die Hard more than anyone I know.
I actually have a Christmas, like a child's storybook reimagination of Die Hard. It's really cool.
When you were in high school, you would love to put on Die Hard.
Yeah, I do love this movie. I haven't seen it for a long time. Great guns, great villains. You know,
I haven't watched it in a long
the
time.
weird Japanese tie-in, Akagi and all that.
The 80s Japanese takeover.
Yeah. It's got all that.
Everybody's seen Die Hard. Hopefully we can bring some new observations to Die Hard.
Yeah.
All right. Later.
Good night, buddy.